Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I've been getting a lot of questions about how to start the budget the way we did our budget. So I have examples here. I have one example that sort of like the client said, sure, you can record it, just don't have any of my personal information in there, kind of thing. So if you like watching these kind of videos, just keep on watching. Alright, so first thing is first, when you're about to do your budget, you need to, in a piece of paper, write down all of your bills, expenses, everything. From things you pay every 3 months to everything you pay once a year, like car taxes, or twice a year. Like Christmas happens once a year. So you need to at least start a written budget on a piece of paper with everything that you spent. All your expenses, your bills, rent, utility, car, loans, credit cards, everything. So what we always do is all of our expenses for everybody, we start with, if they do have credit cards, we do start with whatever their minimum payment is, and that's how we end up starting. So this customer right here, he doesn't have a lot of sinking funds, but he does have one credit card and a car loan. So then you have to figure out your income, and the way we figure it out for this person is because he works hourly, and 1 week he can have 40 hours, another week he can have less, and another week he can have overtime. So it's sort of like, it's never the same every week. So we always go back 3 months. So this person, we did 3 months. We went from January to March, and we averaged out what he got for income. So of course we're not at the end of March yet, but you can still take every paycheck in an Excel sheet and average it out to what it comes up to. So we know he won't get anything less than that because he's been at the job for a couple of years, so it's been the same. So we tend to take 3 months prior, average it out. So he has $2,000 a month. He's an hourly employee, and then these are all his expenses. So his expenses is his car insurance is monthly, the rent is monthly. So as you can see, he has very low rent, but it's because he has roommates. So he lives with a couple of people that they share the rent with. His cell phone, his car payment, he has the American Express, and then a few things that he pays out throughout the year. So here, what we end up doing is we end up split. So this will be your sinking funds, because it only happens like once a year, right? Once a year, twice a year. So car taxes here are twice a year. You have Christmas once a year. He has his Xbox membership that happens once a year. Car maintenance happens throughout the year. You know, you do your oil change every 3 months, that kind of stuff. And then so he has only Xbox, car maintenance, and car tax. Then he has his 2 debts, which is his car and his American Express. And then these are your regular bills, right? So what we do is, the first thing I start with is we do minimum on all your credit cards at the moment when we're first starting, because we don't know if your income is enough to hit more on your debt. So his American Express minimum payment is $25 a month, right? So obviously, and he has like a $5,000 balance. So that's not enough to pay off $5,000. We want him to kill, obviously, his debt. So what happens is, from his $2,000, we start calculating the most important things in life, obviously. And then he's in his 20s, so they don't buy groceries. They don't do, they don't cook. They mainly buy food, basically. So what I have him do is, I ended up taking these important things out, and we took it out of the 2,000. So just to show you. Oh, do I still have space? Yes. So out of his $2,000, I start deducting. So obviously this happens every month. His car insurance, the rent has to be paid, and then the cell phone, right? Because you can't live without it. And the car, because even though it's a debt, it takes you to work, right? The American Express and all this other stuff is relevant, right? But so is the car maintenance and the car tax. So I usually go down and do these as well, because these are important. So out of this, he has $483 remaining, and that's not adding what he has for American Express and Xbox, right? So now I know that he has enough money to throw to his American Express. So for the time being, because they don't do grocery shopping and he doesn't want to do cash envelopes, that kind of stuff, is what I ended up doing for him was then we throwing 180 to the American Express, right? So that will bring this down at least in 2 years. If he wants to throw more, he can. It's up to him on how fast he wants to get out of debt. Because don't forget, our debt-free journey is based on how fast you want to get away from your debt, right? So this is his smallest one. His car obviously is more. I think he owes like $25,000. So we're only going to focus on the American Express right now because it's only $5,000. I think it's actually more. I think it's like $35,000. But as soon as he gets rid of the American Express, he can go ahead and start killing the car if he wants, and start sending them the extra money to get rid of the car. You know, the car loan. So from here, I took all of the monthlies amounts, and then I took all the yearlies and we divide them by monthly, and because he gets paid weekly, we divided it by 4. So this is where I get these from, because he gets paid weekly. Now if you get paid every other week, I would divide it by 2. If you get paid twice a month, obviously divide it by 2. If you get paid once a month, then obviously this is it, you know, you're only doing the 1, right? So I think I divided it. Hold on, I did this like yesterday. Divide by 12. Oh no, this is monthly. I didn't divide it. I wanted to do it with you guys. So he gets paid by weekly, so you got to divide it by 4. So this is like $3. Where's my pen? And then I always round up, right? So you divide by 4. I always do the round up. So we have, you can't really, so if I do the 10 divide by 4, it comes up to 250, right? So when I divide it into the 12, I round up the amounts. Why? Because more money is better. This is 1125. Then this one is 10. So if you get paid twice a month, then it would be 45 divided by 2. This is how much you would be putting in this account every time you get paid, right? So it's up to you on how you want to deposit your money. So for him, he's only going to have 2 accounts because he doesn't want to have the cash envelopes, right? So he's going to have 2 accounts, and then he has a savings. So he actually has We don't count the savings account. All right. So, like I was saying, so he's going to have actually 3 accounts. One for his regular monthly payment, so his rent, his car, his cell, his car insurance, everything that comes out every single month is coming out of that account, right? Then he's gonna have another checking for his regular spending, and then he's gonna have his savings. So his savings, I tell everybody, you get a savings, don't put it with the same bank account. You sort of set it and forget it, make it take it out of your paycheck automatically, direct deposit it, and you know, if you don't see it, you don't know it exists. Basically, that's how we got our $25,000 cash. And you don't balance it, like, don't look at it all the time. I think our savings, we probably go every 6 months to go in to make sure everything is okay, but we don't go in there all the time. So he's only gonna have the 3, because he really doesn't want to do cash envelopes, because they really don't do grocery shopping or, you know, like any of that stuff. So our advice to him was, we ended up telling him that for one account, all of this is going through, so he has to change his direct deposits, right? So out of his direct deposit, we told him the main account, which is where everything ends up coming out through, and then he didn't want a 3rd account to separate his sinking funds, because no matter what, these will get paid when they get paid. So his main account is going to be his main account plus his sinking funds. I'm sure he'll be back, because that's going to be a hella confusing. But that's what he wants to do, and you can't really tell people, you know, what to do, because it's their money, it's their, you know, and they think it works, and you have to learn by your mistakes, right? So we're gonna let him be, and we said okay, and we put everything monthly, so everything from here is monthly. So his total is $1706.61. So let's make sure I did that correctly. But we're pretty confident, because we've been through this before, where people are like, oh, I don't want to do cash envelopes, I don't want to bother with that stuff. And we had then come back like 3 months later, talk about, you know, it didn't work for me. You know, it's too much to manage. It's always something. It was always some excuse. So, and then once we got them into, listen, you really do need that other account, and separate everything, it'll work better. You know, they come back with, oh, it worked. But you gotta let people, you know, learn by their mistakes. Okay, so we have actually, the total is $1706.61 for all of this. So for him to have all this money in the account to pay off his rent, he has to divide it by 4. So every week he needs to deposit $400, and I told him, you make it a little bit higher, so every week he's gonna deposit $430. I always round it up because it's better, to this main account that all this is coming out of the account from. So $430. Out of his $2,000, we take out the $1706.61. He's gonna have $293.39 to play with every month, right? But because of the $2,000, if you divide that by the 4, he actually gets about $500 a week. And if he's depositing $430, he has $70 left every week that he's gonna use for whatever, gas, going out to eat, not sure how he's gonna do that, anything he wants to spend. But don't forget, we averaged it out. So we did tell him he needs to schedule another appointment, because we need to make sure that his income still averages out 2,000. He might have more than 70 one week, but as long as he deposits the 430 every week, he should be okay. But what happens is he's hourly. So hourly, he might not have the 431 week. He might have it the next week because he caught up to his hours. So he needs to manage and be careful with what he spends, with what he has left after he deposits 430. I told him, I think he said gas is about 50. No, I think it was like $30 for gas. So even if you take out the 30, he only has 40 left. So he really has to be careful with what he's spending. The only other thing would be to lower his American Express, but we gave him an average of that he should pay 180. But if it starts being really tight, then he could lower it to like 150 or something like that, because obviously he needs money to eat. So this is like a learning curve, and what happens is you need to manage it basically and keep looking at it, because the numbers won't be correct the next month. So he either needs to kill the American Express so he can have that extra money in his pocket, or find himself a better or another part-time job just to make the difference. So this is things that you got to play with the first time you're doing your budget. The first budget is not going to work. I'll tell you that right now. It never works, because people always either over budget on some things that they really don't spend money on, or they under budget themselves, and then they go back to the credit cards because of the fact that they under budgeted for whatever reason. So this one was pretty simple. I do have one more customer that I asked, but they did not reply, so maybe I'll do that one another day. And that one is more different. She is salaried and she's a single mom, so she has more, like she had the Christmas budget, she has groceries, so it's more stuff to it, and I'm hoping she says yes. So I want to say for him, we have to monitor every month. So every month we'll probably, shoot him a text message. Hey, how's it going? How much do you have in your savings? So we'll be able to tell by looking at what he has in his checking, what he has in his savings. And then we probably going to end up wanting to see his spending checking so we can see how much he's actually spending. So then he'll have to just split everything. I did tell him that he should, at least from whatever he has left, even if it's like $5 or $10, put it into the saving without him noticing is a good thing. Even if it's $5. If you guys notice in my bullet journal, on my category other, we do take out $5 from that, and it goes to the savings, or I think it's like $30. But we don't see it. So then we manage ourselves and we budget ourselves with whatever we have left. So I hope this makes sense. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. Comment below. I hope that made sense. If not, just let me know. I can probably clear it up a little bit better. But God bless. Thank you for watching. And don't forget to subscribe.